events that took us up to present day started in 1988. We took out a mortgage with a company called Bradford and Bingley. Everything went fine. We carried on paying our mortgage up to 1999, when my wife went in to get some insurance, new life insurance on both of us. She discovered a woman behind the counter informed her that we'd never pay off our mortgage. And she was really shocked. So she came home and told me, and we contacted the bank. And the bank wrote to us and said, we are really, really sorry. This isn't our normal standard. We've made a drastic error, and we've changed it without your permission. We have no paperwork to notify why this actually happened. And they sent my wife, Sue, a bottle of champagne and some flowers. Now, that turned out to be the most expensive flowers and champagne we've ever bought, because we assumed wrongly that it had been put back to its original standing, which was an endowment. Now, endowment means you carry on paying to the 25 years, and at the end, it pays off the capital of the property. But they changed it to a part interest and part capital. And we assumed, as I said, wrongly, that it went back to its original endowment. We sailed along for the next 6 years to 2005, 2006, when we discovered that they hadn't changed it. It still remained on a part and part. And we notified them, and then they notified us again, saying, well, Mr. and Mrs. Crawford, we've made another error because we've changed it from part interest, part capital, to an interest only. Well, we argued, we got the ombudsman involved, and unfortunately, because our first call to them and the complaint was in 1999, we were time barred, so they wouldn't help us. So we fought with them. In fact, I think it was 2007 or 8, we stopped paying them to force their hand, and they threatened to take us to court. We succumbed to the pressure, started paying again. Up until 2011, when I was diagnosed with cancer and underwent surgery. The cancer was removed, but unfortunately the surgeon had a day off and he seriously damaged me. I underwent 6 operations after that. And during that time, Sue, my wife, had to do 3 jobs just to cover the bills. But we got behind on the mortgage in 2012. Doesn't matter how hard she worked, couldn't quite make that extra capital up to pay the bills. And Bradford and Bingley decided to possess our home. I never say repossess, because they never owned it in the first place. These things possess things. And took us to court. And the reason why they take us to court is because we missed 3 payments, which is 90 days. 90 days is a special number for all banks that they can then take proceedings to get your home. It's because they have a private insurance taken out on everyone that they will not, if they don't pay their mortgage, the insurance company pays for the capital. So they not only were going after the property, they've already been paid for it.
Gimson Tractors. Gimson Tractors against the councils and against the police and against David Caress.
That takes us up to, we went to court, and the judge said we finally got the payments all together and took it right up to date, and they couldn't do anything about it, and they put an order of a suspended possession with provided we carry on paying. That we did, and it had to be assessed 6 months later. 6 months later, we had another court hearing, and that judge got very annoyed because we took up 15 minutes of his time. Instead, he said, this should have only taken 5 minutes. So they wanted to steal my home and Sue's home in 5 minutes. But we paid, and he couldn't do anything. I had to follow the first judge's orders and pay to the end of the mortgage, which we did. And then we stopped paying because they'd lost our endowment. Not only did they lose our endowment, they changed the terms and conditions of the contract, so they're in breach of contract. They're in breach of a lot of things, but I'll talk about that some other time. But they got a possession order. They claimed that we didn't abide by the judgment, although they sent us a letter saying that the mortgage is finished. So mortgage means it's finished, end of contract. But you are now in arrears. So we couldn't be in arrears when something had finished. So they were making up figures to take possession of the home. Well, I sat down with Sue and we discussed what to do, and I made a little video. And I asked people if they were willing to stand in solidarity with myself and my family and let the bank know that they can't come along after 25 years and steal a family home. And that they did. They came from up and down the United Kingdom, from England, down Wales, Scotland. They came all over. There was 350 people arrived here on the 23rd of July. And the bailiffs didn't turn up. They said for health and safety, they decided not to come along. But the people out here, there was old people, young people, disabilities. It was amazing. It was almost like a festival. It was a very serious occasion, but everybody seemed to get a real, what the youngsters call a buzz, and the atmosphere. I did remark, I said, it's almost like our street's called Fern Chase. I says it's almost like Miracle in Fern Chase, because there's an old film that's It's a Wonderful Life. Some of the papers covered it, the televisions stations covered it, and it went worldwide. They left us till December and then notified us that they were coming on the 23rd of January this year, 2015. And once again, I just made a little video and said, the evil is going to try and return to possess our home. And this time they didn't come in their hundreds. Well, they did. There wasn't 300, 4. There was 800 plus turned up. And there was people playing instruments. The police didn't even turn up. Although some bailiffs did turn up. Stupidly, they'd hid down the bottom of our little road. They planted their vehicles so they can turn up later on foot through some little walkways. And when they got into their vehicles, they realised that there was hundreds of people. And they got very scared. But these people just shepherded them away, shouted at them. But they were perfectly safe from these people, because these are decent people, unlike them, who were big, bully, you know, they're huge out here, you know, to scare people. They were scared, but the people were singing songs after them. And that takes us up to today. There's been fantastic coverage. I have to thank all the medias, all the television companies that came along, and all the papers, because they don't normally cover good, decent stories. They prefer the horrible things in life, deaths, murders, rapes. But this time they covered it, and it was on. We actually knocked ISIS off top spot on BBC and ITV. I went up to the pub because the young lady there had been serving teas early in the morning. The whole community came together. Well, I went up to thank them up there, and Sue phoned me up and said, you know that big screen that's at the back of the newsreaders? It's arched round. Well, my husband's face is right across the back of that. And then everybody in the pub started singing and dancing. So it's been absolutely fantastic. Now, I've been to court just recently, and the judge has bent over backwards to assist me. We've got some paperwork which will be going in tomorrow to get another hearing, because the court system have tried their best to not give me justice. All the judges have a system that they always go along with the banks. There are very, very few occasions where the individual beats the bank. In fact, I tried to get into the High Court, which is the Supreme Court in the United Kingdom, and a district judge got hold of my application and struck it out. Now, he's only a district judge; he shouldn't have had his hands in the High Court paper, but that's how the court system works, to assist the banks in what they do. But this judge, and he's the top judge in Nottingham, he seems to be bending over backwards to help us. Now, my application is now going in, as I say, tomorrow. Normally you only get 21 days to 3 months. Well, this is 2 years, and he's allowing it to go in. And that's because of the pressure and the power of the people. Not anything I've done. The people have spoken, and the people have said, you can't steal people's homes like this, not after 25 years. So I've made many videos thanking the public, and once again I'll do the same, because you've been brilliant. And there's not an awful lot, because I've always said that there's not enough words in the English dictionary to say thanks. Unless there's one in Chinese, I'll have to learn that one. But yeah, that is as up to date, and what the future holds, we shall see.